So yeah, America killed the ISIS leader. They did it literally in the most like America way possible, where they murked the entire family of the ISIS leader, and they're saying that he actually blew himself up. Now, witnesses on the ground give different reports on what actually ended up happening versus what the American government is claiming that happened. It's like most of the children and women died. Like, it's just mostly women and children dead, the ISIS leader dead. I can't wait for the next one, you know. ISIS leader one murder was so good, so poggers. Where's the next one? You know what I'm saying? Like, hella kids died, dude. It's crazy. Yeah, 13 civilians, including 6 children and 4 women, were killed in the process. And they said it was a secondary explosion. Do you guys remember where that comes from? Anyway, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about all that. So let's get started on the ISIS leader that got executed.
Operating on my orders, the United States military forces successfully removed a major terrorist threat to the world, the global leader of ISIS, known as Haji Abdullah. He took over as leader of ISIS in 2019 after the United States counterterrorism operation killed al-Baghdadi. Since then, ISIS has directed terrorist operations targeting Americans, our allies, and our partners, and countless civilians in the Middle East, Africa, and in South Asia. Haji Abdullah oversaw the spread of ISIS-affiliated terrorist groups around the world.
I love that the auto caption thinks Haji is like not a name but also a slur, because it is used as like sometimes like it's like an old school post 9/11 slur against like Muslims. It's like, oh, you fucking Haji, I guess, right? So it thinks it's a fucking slur. That's pretty funny. Anyway, let's continue.
After savaging communities and murdering innocents. He was responsible for the recent brutal attack on a prison in northeast Syria holding ISIS fighters, which was swiftly addressed by our brave partners in the Syrian Democratic Forces.
If the U.S. made up an ISIS leader and said they killed him, how long could they get away with that, says Ryan Grimm. Now, the reason why Ryan is asking this question is because it is a very strange, very strange that we have these, like, I love American foreign policy because it's always like this guy that we just murdered, that we also ended up murdering, like, you know, an entire fucking family of, like, children alongside this guy is the worst terrorist. Like, he's the terrorist that like other terrorists are learning how to terrorize from. It's always literally just like this guy. Now, I'm not saying that motherfucker that got killed is like a good dude, okay? I don't know at all. I have no opinion on his background. But what I do know is these homies come out of nowhere. Okay, like there's always a new alpha Pokemon that America seems to find and kill to do this. Look at us. We did that again. We fucking did that. We did that again, dude. And it's always like suspiciously at times when, you know, there's a need for like a little bit of PR press, you know? And there's always like, let's be real, there's always going to be like, you know, a brown dude that you can just fucking murk, you know?
He was the driving force behind the genocide of the Yazidi people in northwestern Iraq in 2014. We all remember the gut-wrenching stories, mass slaughters that wiped out entire thousands of women and young girls sold into slavery, rape used as a weapon of war.
I think it's pretty safe to say the leader of the ISIS is a bad guy. Yeah, no shit, of course. I'm saying that it's always funny whenever they're like, actually, this is the worst guy. Okay, Trump did this too, where they're like, this guy that we just killed, literally the worst. No one has ever existed that is as bad as this guy. Okay, they always find like a new guy that's the worst guy. Meanwhile, ISIS is like 12 people at this point, and they're like, just wait, dude. The next guy that we kill, also gonna be the worst guy. Okay, no one has ever killed someone as bad as this guy. Okay,
and thanks to the bravery of our troops, this horrible terrorist leader is no more. Our forces carried out the operation with their signature preparation and precision, and I directed the Department of Defense to take every precaution possible to minimize civilian casualties. Knowing that this terrorist had chosen to surround himself with families, including children, we made a choice to pursue a special forces raid at a much greater risk to our own people, rather than targeting him with an airstrike.
Yeah, except, you know, 6 kids died, 4 women died, and a total of 13 civilians died. The one person that fucking died that was like the ISIS leader, and then a lieutenant who shot back. So other than that, everyone else that fucking died literally still died in the precision strike that was ridiculous, right? And they say that he bombed himself, okay? They said that, like, he actually saw that, you know, he was about to get owned, and he just had, like, his suicide vest or just bombs at his house, and he blew himself up and his family, right? Which is exactly what they said on the final strike in Kabul, okay? They said there was a secondary explosion. Guess what? That was a fucking lie, okay? So excuse me if I don't immediately believe that what they're saying is real on behalf of like the dude. Maybe it is, but it doesn't seem like it because America always fucking lies about this shit. And not only that, but I also saw Psaki asked whether aboard Air Force One, a reporter asked the White House press secretary Jen Psaki for evidence to back up the claim that Qureshi detonated a suicide bomb. Psaki asked whether skeptics think the U.S. military is not providing accurate information and ISIS is providing accurate information. No, it's not whether... First of all, I don't believe the United States military. No, I don't. I'll just say it right now. I 100% don't believe it. Like... in certain circumstances, I'd be more willing to believe ISIS than the American military on how a precision strike actually was precise or not, okay? Straight up. Because they do lie. They lie all the fucking time. They've never not lied. Most of the time, they don't even talk about it. And then when they do talk about it, they just fucking lie. We know for a fucking fact that the Kabul explosion that was targeted Hellfire missile strikes, and it was a total lie that there was a secondary explosion that was the reason why, you know, a fucking courtyard full of children died. And the guy wasn't even a fucking person on the terror list. He just happened to drive a car that happened to be the same fucking car that they were looking for. And they just totally lied about it. They totally fucking lied about it. Not a single person has been held accountable for that, by the way. We wiped out on our last day of Kabul. We wiped out. Here, I'm going to get to the witness stuff in a second for the record. And this is the other reason why I think it's fucking bullshit. Because this morning I woke up and I fucking read this. I read all of this shit, okay? And I saw the interviews. And that's precisely the reason why I don't believe it's real, okay? Here, this is not ISIS. This is just a neighbor, okay? This is what the neighbor's testimony is. We're going to get to that in a second, though. Let's finish the details of this.
We made this choice to minimize civilian casualties. Our team is still compiling the report, but we do know that as our troops approached to capture the terrorist, in a final act of desperate, he, with no regard to the lives of his own family or others in the building, he chose to blow himself up, not just with the vest, but to blow up that third floor.
So he's saying...
he, with no regard to the lives of his own family or others in the building, he chose to blow himself up, not just with the vest, but to blow up that third floor.
I just straight up don't believe this, okay? Sorry. Like, do I believe that this is the new leader of ISIS? Maybe. I don't know. Probably not, but who cares? Like, probably a bad dude. Do I believe that he blew himself up? No shot, okay? I do not believe that the fucking dude blew himself up, okay?
Rather than face justice for the crimes he has committed, taking several members of his family with him, just as his predecessor did. I'm grateful for the...
First of all, they never captured these dudes. Like, it's not like they were going to capture this guy. No shot. They were just going to murk him anyway. So, like, the idea that, like, our fucking special forces actually go in and, like, capture people without fucking canoeing their faces is a laughable one, okay? So there's that. The interesting part about this also is that, like, it was literally a mile away from the Turkish border, okay? And there's obviously, like, troops stationed in the northern corridor, Turkish troops. So it's, like, super close to the Turkish border, and it's super close to Turkish military positions as well. So bet your fucking ass that was a collaborative effort, okay? Anyway, let's continue.
Immense courage and skill and determination of our U.S. forces who skillfully executed this incredibly challenging mission. The members of our military are the solid steel backbone of this nation, ready to fly into danger at a moment's notice to keep our country and the American people safe as well as our allies. And I'm also grateful to the families of our service members. You serve right alongside these soldiers and sailors, Marines, Special Forces, the loved ones, giving them the strength and support they need to do what they do.
What? It's illegal for Biden to lie about what happened, though? So you are wrong. It's illegal for Biden to lie about what happened? Yeah. The American president has never lied about military operations.
Service members and their families, we're forever grateful for
That's a good one.
Do for us, and we owe you a debt. Thank you. We're also aided by the essential partnership of the Syrian Democratic Forces, I want to commend our dedicated intelligence community, the Department of Defense, and members of our national security team.
They can always kill Daesh leaders, but they only really do it for political purposes. Yeah, like these guys, they know exactly where they're at. They know what safe houses that they're hiding in, okay? And they just like wait for the most opportune time to just wipe out a city block and then fucking dab themselves up and be like, hoorah, we're still doing it, baby. Meanwhile, this dude is just like jerking off the hentai in some fucking random like Syrian apartment where he lives with like his wives and his children and shit. You know, he's not a good guy, don't get me wrong. The idea that like, oh man, we really found this guy that we were looking for a while now, like get the fuck out of here, dude. It's so stupid. Okay, let's just continue.
Throughout the government, whose meticulous and tireless work over the course of many months ensured that this mission succeeded. This operation is testament to America's reach and capability to take out terrorist threats no matter where they try to hide anywhere in the world. I'm determined to protect the American people from terrorist threats, and I'll take decisive action to protect this country. And we'll continue working with our close allies and partners, the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Iraqi security forces, including the Kurdish Peshmerga, and more than 80 members of the global coalition to keep pressure on ISIS to protect our homeland. We remain vigilant.
Damn, bro. No fucking shouts out to the Turkish forces. Like, I see you, Biden. There's 0% chance that like this was not a fucking coordinated, because the area that they're doing this is the northern Syrian corridor, which is like right on the border of Turkey and Syria, which the Turkish military now controls, right? Remember, like they went in, they took over all the towns, and they've like assumed control of over all the towns, and that was like a big fucking, there was big drama there as well. But no, he didn't say that. Turkey supports ISIS, dude. Yeah, totally, dude. Anyway, okay, let's continue.
Come after you,
bro. I love, man, my favorite thing is American leftist Westerners, like just Western leftists who think like every single fucking military group in there does not despise one another and like routinely murder one another. You know what I mean? Like whether it's a militia or whether you think like, oh no, like YPG good, Turkish military hates YPG, so they fucking obviously, because YPG is killing ISIS, then the Turkish military must like ISIS. It's like, no, it's not true. That's ridiculous.
And today, we continue our unceasing effort to keep the American people safe and to strengthen the security of our allies and partners around the world.
As far as skepticism goes, do I believe that this is like the most important leader of ISIS or whatever? Not really. I think it's just like, is he a bad guy? Most likely, most definitely, right? Do I believe he's like the most important leader of ISIS now? Probably not. There's just like, they know where these motherfuckers live. They use it strategically, to execute them strategically to get like a big PR push for the military. Do I believe that he blew himself up? Fuck no, absolutely not. Anyway, so here's on the ground reports that are absolutely contradicting the American statement here. First of all, let's start off with this one. When someone on Air Force One asked Jen Psaki for evidence to back up the claim that Qureshi detonated a suicide bomb, Psaki said, "Don't you trust the U.S. military instead of ISIS?" So that's fucking bullshit. But I mean, the U.S. has not always been straightforward about what happens with civilians, and I mean, that is a fact. Then at the State Department spokesman Ned Price was repeatedly asked for evidence for the U.S. government's claim that Russia plans to create a false flag propaganda video as a pretext to invading Ukraine. Price responded, "If you doubt the credibility of the U.S. government or of the British government, of other governments, and want to, you know, find solace in information that Russians are putting out, that is for you to do." These guys are not even trying anymore. They literally are just like, just listen to us, you fucking idiots. What's wrong with you? We're the American government. You're supposed to be doing propaganda. And 99% of the time, the press corps does operate in unison with the State Department. They do actually fucking do propaganda for the State Department and for the DOD. But for some reason, the lightest of fucking pushback causes these entitled dickheads to just be like, you don't believe us? Wow, you must want to kiss the enemy. It's like, are you a fucking child? Are you a dickhead? Are you fucking stupid? You literally lie all the time. Your entire purpose as a mouthpiece in the government is to lie to the press, okay? Of course, a contentious press is supposed to be one of the most important tenets of a fucking free country. And of course, they're going to do that. You can't go, na, boo, boo. You don't trust me? Oh, do you want to hug and kiss Vladimir Putin? Is that what's going on? Ooh, you must like ISIS. Ooh, it's like literally fucking gray names in the chat do a better job of figuring out counter propaganda propaganda than these motherfuckers that are getting paid like $200,000 a year that have been in like the NatSec sector for such a long time. It's crazy to me. Why the fuck would anybody ever trust the American government for, especially on this issue? So anyway, the raid happened in Syria on Thursday and had been planned for months. The U.S. troops suffered no casualties. 13 civilians died, including 6 children and 4 women were killed, or as the U.S. calls it, collateral damage. By the way, I was 100% right in Kabul, okay? Just remember, I was 100% right on Kabul, and you were fucking wrong if you doubted me, so suck my dick. So, Spencer Ackerman, who I love and trust, who I've had on the show, and Ryan Grimm as well. And Spencer has been literally covering this since before you motherfuckers, half this chat was alive, okay? Remember, Spencer Ackerman has been a NatSec reporter since before half of this chat was alive, okay? So just remind yourself of that reality when we're having this conversation. He goes, another dead obscure terrorist leader. Time to start 2 stopwatches. The first counts down how long until the official story about the operation turns out to be bullshit. The second, shorter clock, is the time it takes to generate a new obscure leader of the terrorist group. Okay, here is a little bit of translation from the actual fucking convo here. Okay, so this is the photo. Images circulating online, I won't reshare them, show a number of dead children as well as a bearded man. Much speculation as to his identity. This AFP picture also shows the roof, the top floor of the building where the tenant's sister and child apparently lived, destroyed. The New York Times quotes an anonymous senior American military official. This is important. Stories like this are very important for you to understand. Why are they very important for you to understand? Because the gray lady, okay, the paper of record, the New York Times, the New York motherfucking Times, works in unison with the Pentagon. Okay, here is how they do it. Here is how they get you to believe it. These are the people that are creating the news. Okay, I need you to understand. ISIS guy dies, big baddie. We beef up how big of a baddie he is, and then we obscure the details of how he was killed. Okay, remember that. This is really, really, really important. So the New York Times quotes this anonymous senior American military official. Wow, interesting. Is that how you do journalism? You just like fucking protect your source in that situation, where it's a senior American military official saying an explosion inside the house was likely what caused the target blowing himself up. So the reason why I have a interesting relationship with media in general, specifically the New York Times, for example, is because this is the outlet that does this propaganda, but that's also the same outlet that also did the fucking investigative piece that blew the lid on the Kabul bombing on the last day where the American military forces were retreating, right? Remember in Kabul, where America lobbed Hellfire missiles on a courtyard where they ended up murking a dude that worked with like NGOs and shit, and his entire fucking family of little babies, remember? And then remember how they lied about how that was a secondary explosion that also occurred? In that situation, they said there was a secondary explosion that wiped out the family. Oops, collateral damage, right? And I told you that it was sussy as fuck. And the New York Times did an actually really good job about the investigative reporting there, where this is not what I'm talking about though. They actually were the ones that they did a video investigation about the guy who was delivering water to his neighborhood when he was fucking executed by the American government. Yeah, they said they thought he was a terrorist when he was just simply delivering water, and they lied and said there was a secondary explosion that caused people to fucking die when that wasn't the case either. And the New York Times did really good coverage on it. So it's the same shit, like the same situation. You were so fucking biased. It's not even funny. The alleged drone strike sized hole left by ISIS leader after killing himself and several civilians without killing any special forces members was completely legitimate and should not be questioned at all. Yeah, exactly. Dude, come on, bro. Just because it looks like it was a fucking drone strike shaped hole does not change the reality that the American government is telling you something, and you should definitely listen to them. Even worse, the secondary explosion was said to be a bomb that was in the innocent dude's car. Yeah, they lied. They fucking lied. They literally lied about that, and they will continue to lie about shit like this because, big pinch of salt, obviously, in Kabul, August 29th drone strike. They said there was a clear secondary explosion. That was a fucking lie. Remember I said that was sussy? People said I was like fucking pro-terrorism, even back then. Classic stuff. I was right. Everyone else was wrong that doubted me. So just remember that. Biden announced the raid killer as the leader of ISIS. And then the official tweet from Biden, who's expected to speak later, think it may become a talking point that the location of the house was only a few miles from the Turkish border. So that's where, like, there's a lot of Turkish military presence in this region. This region is technically now, like, functionally controlled by the Turkish government. The northern Syrian corridor is, like, controlled by the Turkish government the American government gave Turkey the northern Syrian corridor to control. Like, they allowed that to happen. So anyone that tells you that is not true is fucking a clown ass and lying to you. Okay. For more on exactly what happened during the raid, this fascinating interview with a woman who allegedly lived in the same building. If you look carefully, the picture above, it's actually 3 stories, not 2. Quick translation below. Apologies for the mistakes. I watched the interview as well. She says the planes came around at 1 a.m. There was a first, second, and third floor. They were shouting that we needed to get out of the house, men, women, and children, and that we would be killed if not. They fired a missile shell while we were inside. Then they fired bullets and we were inside. Then my husband went out and my son. They said, get away from the house and lie down on the ground. I came out behind them, but I didn't see them on the ground. They said, put your hands on your head and get on the ground and take off your hijab. I was very scared. I couldn't tolerate it. Then I took my children and get inside. They said, you will die, you will die. Then they threw a missile inside, a second one. My husband said they want to destroy the house. Khalas, let them. Don't move. I went out. They took the kids from me directly and searched me and handcuffed my hands behind me. They took me over there under the tree. This is an interview that she's doing with like a local news, like an Arabic news station. Okay. The neighbors were there as well. They hit my husband and hit my hair. Honestly, the neighbors don't know each other. I only know Abu Ahmad's family. The interviewer says, when they were shouting to you with loudspeakers, did they mention a name? No. Then the planes above us started to hit the top floor with machine guns, meaning that the man couldn't go down to get out. He couldn't get out, or his children. Did you see any killed? No, I saw remnants of bodies. And they hit it, and his son died. He still had 2 daughters and a 15-day-old son. The father and mother and brother were killed, and the kids survived. Kids are a girl around 11 years old, a girl 7 years old, and a boy 4 years old, and a 15-year-old boy were taken out. The person might be thinking it's a plane, but it could be a helicopter as well, or it could be a drone. But the idea that, like, Biden says directly that Qureshi blew himself up on the 3rd floor of the building, says they chose to carry out the operation with special forces rather than an airstrike to reduce the danger of civilian harm. And for some reason, though, weirdly enough, the person on the ground that's giving an interview is saying that that's not what happened. They didn't mention that, like, you know, someone blew themselves up, and they're talking about missiles being lobbed into the fucking building. So yeah, justify and agitate the invasion of Iraq, New York Times, totally credible, man. No, but you have to remember, it's not that simple, okay? It's not just like New York Times bad and fucking gray zone good or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of these outlets fuck shit up, okay? They do it to propagandize, they do it to sensationalize, they do it because they have, other points of view. But the New York Times also does good reporting as well, as I mentioned. So they are the ones who literally take the fucking State Department propaganda hook, line, and sinker and report it to you. But then they're also the ones who were part of the reason why they cracked the whole Kabul story wide open. DoD spokesperson was grilled repeatedly about civilian harm, seemed to admit U.S. forces shot accidentally 1 child on the 1st floor. And finally, hopefully, the images released by the DoD showing the house before and after the explosion, allegedly Qureshi blowing himself up. The New York Times did do that expose on how many civilians are killed in drone strikes at the same time. Yeah, they do both. They do both. Does the American government think they can get away with this and lie because of 9/11? What do you mean, dude? The American government... Okay, here's the interesting part that I will tell you. This is a sign of progress. It's really sad to say, but it's kind of like the similar situation with Palestine. We're like talking about Palestinian rights openly without getting barraged by like mainstream media as an anti-Semite, being declared an anti-Semite is relatively new. And it's a sign of progress. Having this level of coverage on it and being able to talk about this, or even the New York Times doing the Kabul story, is a sign of progress. Because back in the day, you didn't even have coverage of this, okay? They would just say, people died, shut the fuck up. And there was never, ever like serious skepticism or people questioning this narrative, ever. If you question it, you were anti-American, you were a terrorist lover, you wanted to suck and fuck the terrorists, okay? And same with even like UK and same with the stuff in Syria, same with the stuff in fucking the conflicting reports coming out of Ukraine with like America's interest in fucking Russia and Ukraine, and then the Ukrainian authorities saying something different. Like, all of this is very interesting to see. Here's what the New York Times says at the bottom of their story. Given the fluid nature of early reports in a complex raid like Thursday's operation, the military's initial version may be incomplete. Accounts of other events have at times turned out to be contradictory or sometimes flat wrong. Yeah, I wish they exercised that same level of skepticism instead of fucking putting in exactly what the fucking high-level military official had said, okay? And not only that, but also the daily today released a fucking video on is ISIS back while this fucking military operation was ending. Like before the fucking bodies were cold, the Daily was already crafting a fucking narrative that is basically like playing a secondary role in justifying these sorts of strikes against people that we have declared to be like big baddies. So that's weird. That's fucking really weird, man. The timing on that is really, really fucking weird. It is completely unacceptable that we have absolutely fucking normalized this sort of behavior where like America can play world police and say, well, one ISIS guy died, 13 civilians, six children, 4 women, 13 civilians overall died, but hey, the big baddie ISIS guy died, so it's fucking fine. Completely insane to me, okay? That is not, you can't do that. These are human beings. You cannot fucking do that. You could not do that in the aftermath of 9/11, but you still did, and the American government still did that and totally got away with it. 20 years later, we're still doing it. And it's fucking insane. It's absolutely pathetic. It's psychotic. It's bloodthirsty. It's completely unacceptable. There was some disgusting chatter who said, this is a war where people die. What of it? Can you explain to him that America isn't being threatened at all? What fucking war is there? Yeah, dude, that's completely unacceptable. Like, that's not a thing. That's not a reality. Like, you can't just be like, this is a war. There is no war. This is just the world's most powerful military force routinely and regularly just slaughtering people for funsies. And in this circumstance, I think they're doing it specifically for PR. Anyway, let's see what Felicia Sudmez has to say. At today's White House and State Department press briefings, reporters pressed for evidence to back up U.S. government statements about recent events in Syria and Russia, respectively. In response, officials suggested that those reporters might be more inclined to believe ISIS and the Kremlin. Yikes. Aboard, we already talked about that. Not providing accurate information, and ISIS providing accurate information. That's what Jen Psaki said. The reporter did not back down. Then at the State Department, spokesman Ned Price was repeatedly asked for evidence on the U.S. government's claim that Russia plans to create a false flag propaganda video as a pretext to invading Ukraine. I love 2014 imperialism for funsies, Obama tactics. I mean, everybody does that. It's not just Obama. It's like every administration has done that. Every single one. It's not war per se, but ignoring the obvious dangers of real terrorism doesn't make it any better. The obvious dangers of real terrorism, you mean the American military industrial complex that regularly fucking wipes out entire city blocks for no reason other than PR? Because that's real terrorism. Can you imagine if the police force behaved this way? Like, let me just explain it to you so you understand it a little bit better, okay? The American government operates like a police force, okay? The police of the world. Imagine if they came to your fucking house, busted your door down, and killed your entire fucking family, okay? Because your uncle is a bad guy, okay? He's a bad guy. By the way, America did do that. The move bombing, 1985. Move bombing, okay, Pennsylvania. But that's completely unacceptable, right? That's insane. Well, they do that all the time. They do it non-fucking stop. They are the most prolific terrorists. They're commenting on your statement that there isn't a war. There isn't. There is not. It's not fucking anything, okay? Yikes, dude. War with who? War with what? Ignoring the dangers of terrorism. We are the most dangerous terrorists. The threat of ISIS is very real, though, and the people that fought ISIS there were more happy about the U.S. presence until they left because of piece of shit Trump. No, that's not. No, you're fucking insane. I feel like I'm talking about they will treat. I feel like I'm talking to Donald Rumsfeld right now, dude. We're invading, and Donald Rumsfeld is in the chat. You're just out of your fucking mind, okay? You're out of your mind. And there are plenty of fucking one-offs, like random people that you can literally point to right now. And I'm sure you could do that and be like, well, look, people were way happier when we were there. Like, look at this person that's in the Kurdish militia that also is now working for the CIA. Like, that person said he's very happy that America was there or whatever. But ultimately, by and large, these regions have to have autonomy, like a constant fucking... Dude, it's crazy, man. You really think we have to have a constant fucking permanent war? Are you psychotic? Do you not understand that you are ISIS? Like, you are literally worse than ISIS. America is worse than ISIS. They are. Partially because they absolutely created ISIS, okay? And they continue to feed ISIS by doing this shit. What do you think happens? What do you think happens when you wipe out a fucking city block? What do you think happens when you just fucking drone strike and murk 13 civilians and terrify the shit out of people? Their house is gone. What do you think is going to happen to those people? Do they have to just suck it the fuck up? What will they do? What is going to happen? Of course they're going to be pissed, dude. Are you fucking insane? It's called blowback, motherfucker. Holy shit. What goes around comes the fuck around. And people do not understand this because we sit on our fat fucking asses on our couches and watch this like it's a televised, broadcasted event. It's no different than the Israeli dudes that fucking did the cinema thing where they popped fucking couches on top of the West Bank and watched Gaza get fucking blown into oblivion. Okay, not West Bank, sorry. What is it, like the Haifa night? What the fuck was it called? I forget what it's called. It's no different than that. You're just watching it on CNN, eating popcorn, and these people that are fucking dying are nothing but like, you know, characters that are fucking dying, okay? Yeah. For you, it's just war on television, okay? For those people, it's their entire lives and livelihoods. I agree with you 100%, but I feel like normies will clip America's worse than ISIS, and you'll have a great time with that. I've said that many times over. What do you mean? America is literally the most prolific terrorist on the planet. Like ISIS shudders in fear. They cower in fear with like what America can do and regularly does and gets away with. Are you fucking insane? Flip it and ship it wherever you want, motherfucker. I've said this a million times over. I said this about Iran too. Like America is a way bigger terrorist state than Iran. Like not even a question, dude. Literally.
I think they should just clear off all the city. Just take it off the ground. Yes, I'm a little bit fascist.
That's what you sound like when you're like, come on, bro. Come on. But like ISIS, bro. Come on. ISIS is pretty scary, you know? By the way, Crowder saying it's totally fine, America. A big win for the U.S. today. Yeah, see, this is why Biden did it. So that fucking clown asses like this could be like, big win for Biden. As ISIS leader Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi al-Qurayshi dies by suicide. We're relieved no American troops were lost in the raid. Good on you, America. But 4 women and 6 children were tragically killed by this coward. How does it feel, chatters, when you are in agreement with Steven Crowder? Because I know a lot of you don't have any way to analyze like politics other than the concept of like team sports. So the only framework that you have to analyze political events, especially when it comes to foreign policy, is team sports. So you're agreeing with Steven Crowder.
Win here. Look, I don't care who's running the country as it relates to this, whether it's former Vice President Joe Biden or President Harris, President Donald Trump. The leader of ISIS, Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi, I hope I'm getting that right.
Oh, how couldn't you be?
Was killed in Syria. Yeah, that's what people will be upset about. Like, well, you didn't get his name right. Yeah, okay, you know what? Fine. I'll check my white privilege when he stops banging 6-year-old girls. How about that?
Putting 83 octaves in your name.
Yes. I don't have the back of the throat spit enough because we're all a little bit sick. So the Pentagon stated that, if we're trusting what the Pentagon says, that the man actually triggered a bomb, which killed himself and, unfortunately, 13 civilians, including 4 women and 6 children. No U.S. casualties. Look. Well, first off, hey, you know what? This guy's dead, so take that win. Good on you, America. Right?
Yeah!
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, Crowder will 100% shit on Biden about this later on. Yeah, of course. The reason why he's not even talking about civilian casualties is probably to fucking criticize Joseph Robinette here. Okay, we're done.
A coward. And I think it's also a testament to when people say the United States is just as evil as these other countries. Look, the United States, obviously, I don't think we should police the world. I'm more of a non-interventionist. I don't believe in most of these
What? Oh, yeah. Okay, bro. Steven Crowder is a non-interventionist.
Foreign wars. You guys know that pretty well. But when was the last time you heard, or you've heard of a general? Do you remember Patton blowing himself up and taking out 6 kids?
Yeah.
MacArthur? It's not something we do. Let's not act as though there's a moral equivalency, okay? This is a man who cares so little about the people for whom he's fighting that he killed them. He killed them in a coward's way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
It's not true.
I prefer Muhammad Ali Ermi.
No.
What are you about to call me an asshole?
Yes, I was.
Points out
Look,
that's
this
not
guy,
true.
if he's like, all right, I'm about to die, here's your options. Go out.
Dude. Yeah, we nuked Japan. And like, we didn't really need to do that at all. But we did it anyway to flex that we could and to show, especially the USSR and the rest of the world, that like we have this power and we are not afraid to use it. So that's pretty bad. Also, this is why, dude. Where's the skepticism, bro? Where's the skepticism of the government narratives, Mr. Anti-interventionist, Mr. Isolationist? What happened? I love that, dude. I fucking love that. This is why these homies are just fucking straight boot suckers, okay? This idea that they are anti-interventionists or isolationists is a fucking gigantic lie. This idea that they're skeptical is a gigantic lie. Oh, I'm only skeptical of the government narrative when they're telling me to wear a mask. But when it comes to like ISIS guy blew himself up, definitely, dude. Definitely, that's a real thing for sure. Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh, man. Because why? Why did that narrative come out? For this reason. So that fucking idiotic reactionaries can think, oh, it's totally justifiable. The 13 people that fucking died that had nothing to do with this dude, they deserve to die as collateral damage, and they didn't die in the hands of the glorious American military, but instead they died in the hands of the big bad ISIS guy that I didn't know anything about until this morning, and now I know he's the worst guy on the planet, and you know had to be killed.
I don't want America to fail. If America is going to fight ISIS, I want us to fight them and win. I just don't think that Americans have the stomach for war anymore. If you're going to go to war...
By the way, this is why they did this. This is literally why they did this. So they could like have, you know, a little bit of positive coverage. Like, yeah, we fucking did it. But no, I'm not fucking mad. I'm used to this shit. Like, yeah, this is the most normal shit on the planet. America is always going to lie. You are the one who's like, no, I want to take the American government's narrative on this issue because I feel better about it. Like, I feel better about myself. I feel like America's the good guys, killing the bad guys.